This scary video, we see another UFO spotted by US military. This is some amazing footage you must see. Watch this.
Break Omaha, 15 kid, Rocco Peralta pass ability to launch Hilo ASAP.
Splash to get bearing range.
Sure. Got 2 minutes, 3 knots.
Keep going, bro. So, let's go down.
We're making 10, so we can probably bring that 35 relative to Sir.
Yeah, I'll bring it in.
We got a lot of white water up there, some 6-foot swells.
Whoa, it's getting close.
Yeah, we have 31 knots sustained wind, topside, gust of 40.
Whoa, splashed. Mark bearing and range.
In this
An update now to a story that we have been monitoring for months. If you regularly watch Finnerty, you will be familiar with this next story. Right now, as we speak, 3I Atlas, an enormous glowing object the size of Manhattan, is speeding toward Earth on what appears to be a planned, coordinated trajectory. It's going so fast that you could fly from New York to Los Angeles in just 1 minute. Now, conventional scientists say that it's just a comet. Of course they're going to say that. But it's doing things that comets just don't do. No comet we've ever seen. So what is it? Joining us now to answer that question, Harvard astrophysicist Dr. Avi Loeb, and member of the House Oversight Committee, and someone who took part in the UAP hearings just last month, Tennessee Congressman Tim Burchett. Gentlemen, great to have you back on. Dr. Loeb, I want to start with you. October 3rd is an important date in this 3I Atlas saga. Why is today so important, and what are we now learning about this thing?
For a simple reason, a picture is worth 1,000 words. And we are about to get the highest resolution images of 3I Atlas when it comes within 29 million kilometers from Mars. There are several orbiters, one that was deployed by NASA around Mars, and it has a camera. This camera is called HiRISE that will be able to resolve 3I Atlas with a 30 kilometer per pixel resolution. So we will learn much more about it in the coming days, and hopefully the data will be out soon. Science is fun because we can learn from evidence. So far, there are 7 anomalies of this unusual object. The size is very large. It's larger of all the size of Manhattan Island, about 1,000 times more massive than the previous interstellar comet, about 33 billion tons, at least that mass. There was a jet coming out of this object towards the sun. Unlike a cometary tail that usually goes away from the sun, there was an unusual chemical composition containing mostly nickel without iron. There was a polarization of light never seen before for comets, and the trajectory of 3I Atlas is aligned with the plane of the planets around the sun. The arrival time was fine-tuned to come very close to Mars today, and later to Jupiter and Venus. And also I noticed that the arrival direction of 3I Atlas was coincident with the direction from where we got the most powerful radio signal back in 1977 that was called the WOW signal, still unresolved.
From Sagittarius, and it comes from that direction, although we don't know the plane, but it comes from that direction in the solar system. So basically, Congressman, I know you just heard all of that. Dr. Loeb wrote the UN about this, saying this should be looked into. We're going to have the best pictures we've had yet from Mars of this thing, unless the government hides them from us, which they could do. Have you been briefed on this, Congressman?
I have not, and I'll tell you one of the reasons I admire so much Dr. Loeb is what he said. You know, we can learn from science. You know, he's not one of these arrogant jerks out there that looks down upon everybody else. He actually enjoys explaining it to folks like myself. He's a hero in this movement. And he's also a pretty brave guy because he takes some pretty tough stands with his scientific data. But yeah, this is the kind of thing that we need to be briefed on. You got to wonder what our scientific community, NASA, and all the rest are doing right now. I realize there's a shutdown going on, but this is occurring before the shutdown. And
this thing is heading our direction, Congressman.
Yeah,
I just want to ask you about one other issue while I have you. Sorry to cut you off, sir. You received intelligence that suggests that there are perhaps deep water alien bases right now sitting on the ocean floor on this planet. Is that accurate?
I would say that's pretty accurate.
Can you go into more detail? How long have they been here? Where are they?
Well, I'm extrapolating all this with my East Tennessee vernacular. So we've got five or six deep water areas of our oceans. We actually know more about the surface of the moon than we do about these areas. And these are areas where we have a high frequency of UFO or UAP sightings. We've had naval folks have told me pretty high up that they've actually tracked these things. Now, we have stuff that can go underwater probably 30 to 40 miles an hour, maybe something a little faster that the Chinese haven't stole from us yet. And we've tracked things big as a football field going 200 miles an hour. Now, I realize in the water you extrapolate that to knots and all that, but just for good old East Tennessee common sense, 200 miles an hour, something the size of a football field. And we don't know what it is. And these are in these areas. So, yeah, there's something going on there. And whether it's something that's been here for millennial or whatever, and I'm not afraid of it. I'm kind of like Dr. Loeb. I love to study this kind of stuff. It's the scientific material there he's the one that disclosed some things that were found that were extraterrestrial in our oceans. And, he's brave enough, I believe, to come forward with those. So I'm looking forward to some more talks about this. But I think I've kicked the hornet's nest because it was just in a casual conversation with a blogger, and I discussed it. It wasn't in a classified setting, so I could talk about it. But I always remember the last thing this one high-ranking official told me as he left my office. He was right close to me as I am to my phone in my barn right now, and he said, "Tim, they're real."
Dr. Loeb, hopefully these images come out soon and we find out what this thing is. Congressman, great to have you on. Appreciate you making the time for us. We'll have you back as well. Thank you.
All right, shalom, shalom, shalom. All praises to the Most High, Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, which is to say in the Paleo Hebrew, Yahweh, which is the name of our Heavenly Father, meaning He is, and that is who the world ignorantly calls God. Bahashem, meaning in the name. Yahweh Shai, meaning He is our salvation, and that is who the world also ignorantly calls Jesus, a so-called black man, who, by the way, only came for the Israelites, which brings us to our discussion this afternoon, going into evening, is that canst thou draw out Leviathan with an hook? Canst thou draw out Leviathan with a hook? Okay? Now, the first two videos, or the first two short clips you saw, was of what the people call in the world UFOs and now UAPs, which are acronyms for unidentified flying objects and unidentified, what's the A in UAP? Unidentified aerial phenomena or something along those lines. Well, we know them as chariots, those of us that are in the truth, all right? Now, the first one was of a chariot or slash UFO hovering over the ocean, and then it descended down into it. And the other one was of a chariot gliding across the ocean, and these Edomites think that they actually have the technology to lock on to these chariots, okay? if the chariots are allowing these Edomites to lock on to their location and their movement, is because they want them to, so they can be seen. All right, which we're going to go briefly into Amos 9. All right, because why? The eyes of the Lord are upon a sinful kingdom. Okay, the chariots are watching over this kingdom, this sinful kingdom, which is Babylon the Great, America. Okay, so it ain't because Esau got this technology or the chariots can't outmaneuver Esau, Edom's technology. No, it's because the Lord wants this man to know that he's getting ready to take him down. All right. And in the second video, you had the guy said he isn't afraid, but they should be very afraid. Okay. Because these chariots aren't letting you see them for no reason. All right. They showing you that they getting ready to what? Wreak havoc on this place. All right. They getting ready to bring all out hell on this place. Okay. Now, it's by no sheer coincidence that amongst this government shutdown, all of a sudden, now NASA is shutting down its operations when initially they were supposed to be having, good images of this quote unquote 3I Atlas comet, 3I meaning third interstellar object that they have observed, to enter our atmosphere, not our atmosphere, but into our universe. It was supposed to be between October 3rd or 7th, somewhere along that line. And we were supposed to get the closest image or picture of this comet to see exactly what it was. And now all of a sudden the government shuts down and NASA shuts down. All right. Letting you know, or letting you lead to understand that this is something more than what they saying that it is, man. All right, because all these other agencies that's affected by this government shutdown, they going on furlough. But NASA can't go on furlough. They got to shut it down amongst this so-called comet, hurtling into Mars. And now they're saying it's on a trajectory to Earth. Something else got to be going on. All right. So these are the top stories. It says NASA shuts down why the oldest space agency has stopped functioning amid crucial operations. See? So you may say, well, other people have telescopes and can see this comet going to Mars, and if it comes to Earth, see it. But NASA has the more advanced technology telescopes to see it. All right. And it's by no sheer coincidence that this government has shut down amidst this comet that they saying is a comet, but it doesn't have the telltale signs of a, natural comet. It's something they saying different about this comet. All right. And NASA was supposed to have the intel or the technology to see exactly what it was through their telescopes. But now that they're shut down, all of a sudden now we can't get a read on what exactly this is. If it's a comet or if it's something that looks like a comet, hiding itself as a comet, masquerading itself as a comet. But as the Harvard scientist, what's his name? Loeb, says that he believes it's a alien probe. Okay. So this is the headline from the Times of India. It says NASA shuts down why the oldest space agency has stopped functioning amid crucial operations. NASA has temporarily scaled back most of its operations due to a deadlock in U.S. government funding. When Congress fails to pass a budget or short-term funding measures, the agency is forced to limit work to activities vital for safety and security. See? So they're using this excuse that they don't have enough people to fund to actually monitor this comet that they say is hurtling or that's orbiting around the sun or behind the sun, which is at its best point to see exactly what it is. We in the window to see exactly what it is right now, and NASA is nowhere to be found, or they're partially being funded or operated. All right, started at their full capacity where they could what? Fund this and see exactly what this is. Is it a comet or is it something else? But because of the shutdown, they can't. All right? It's no sheer coincidence that this government shutdown is strategically planned at this moment, at this time. It says, as a result, many ongoing projects from research and public outreach to preparation for upcoming missions are put on hold. Right. Because they don't want to show you what exactly this comet is. They saying it's a comet, but the government knows exactly what's going on. That's why they shut this thing down. All right. They understand who's coming. All right. They understand. That's why they getting ready to come down with that great wrath. All right. This government shutdown was orchestrated. Don't think it was just by happenstance and it just happened out of the blue. No, they shut this thing down on all levels, man. The Epstein, the prolonged that, this comet, not to acknowledge it, people to strip them from their resources that they relying on the government, those that have jobs to go furlough where they can't pay their rent and mortgages to what? Further create chaos amongst the streets. We already seen the lady that couldn't get food stamps because she filled out her application too late. So this government shutdown is working on all four fronts, okay, including NASA. It says essential tasks such as monitoring astronauts aboard the International Space Station, ISS, and safeguarding spacecraft and operations across the solar system continue under a skeleton crew, but delays in mission planning and scientific studies are inevitable. So they can't fund or they can't give the attention in certain areas of scientific studies, which is what they was looking to do amongst this comet 3I Atlas going around the sun at its most pivotal point where they can see exactly what it is that they're looking at. All right. And we know, all right, we know, those of us in the truth, all right, this thing is tied into prophecy. Okay. And I'm under the belief that these UFOs, these so-called UFOs, we know them as chariots that's gliding across the water and going in the water, is drawing out Leviathan. Okay. The serpent. Okay, not the serpent that's going to be destroyed, but the serpent that's going to do the destroying. Because you have Leviathan that the Most High made to destroy, and then you have Leviathan as in Esau, Edom, that serpent will be destroyed. Two different Leviathans, depending on the context how you read it. You have the Leviathan that the Most High made to do the destroying of these other nations, particularly Esau, Edom, and his naval, his naval military. And then you have Leviathan, that crooked serpent, that snake known as Esau, Edom. Okay? That's where the two get conflicted because people don't know how to interpret or differentiate between the two. They lump them all as in one when it's not so. Okay? So I'm under the belief that those chariots are being sent to draw out Leviathan for what's coming to an end in World War III. They're waking him up, okay? Because the other guy in the third video said that there's space stations underneath in the water, all right? And these so-called UFOs are going in and out, all right? And Leviathan is in the bottom of the ocean, okay? So I believe that they're waking up Leviathan. All right, for this last this third World War III, because you're going to have military, naval ships in the ocean, and they're going to get swallowed up, man. All right, by Leviathan. Leviathan is going to put an end to the other Leviathan, which is that crooked serpent, Esau, Edom. As it says, that old serpent. Okay? So Leviathan will be used in World War III to help take out Esau, Edom's naval military, and along with other nations' military. All right. So I believe that the chariots are being used to draw out Leviathan for this third world war, or the third woe, speaking in Revelation. All right, let's go ahead and get some precepts. A little bit about Amos 9. Now, this is talking about Israel, particularly the northern kingdom, but it can be applied today to the Edomites, to these heathens. All right, so let's read this, because it says God's judgment avoidable. This was speaking on Israel, you know, particularly the northern kingdom, and then how in the latter part of this chapter, the restoration of Israel. Okay, the Most High was unpleased with Israel, particularly the northern kingdom, and all their sacrifices and all their idolatry and worshiping and thinking that they can avoid judgment. But the Lord was assuring them that they wouldn't be able to hide, whether they try to hide themselves in hell or up into the heavens, they wouldn't be able to avoid judgment. All right, which is why the Lord sent that cruel nation from afar off that they knew not. All right, to come find them, because they wouldn't be able to hide. You know, they tried to come across the barren here in America to worship their, you know, as it says, to worship, what's that in the Apocrypha? 2nd Ezra 6 or 13, if I'm not mistaken, when it goes, I believe it's 6, that it goes into the northern kingdom coming to America so that they could worship. But then they got over here and they started what? Going back into idolatry, where the Lord sent that nation that was cruel from afar. All right, going into what? When Christopher Columbus came over here from Spain, he came to conquer, which is why they got the name conquistadors, the indigenous people over here in America, because why? They were going off. All right. So initially this was going into the judgment of Israel, and then the restoration, you know, them being brought back, and not just them, but a representation of all of us that are Israelites that went off. The restoration of Israel. But now this could be applied to who? Esau, Edom, all right? And other nations, because why? They're going to be judged, all right? As it says in Deuteronomy 30 and verse 7, the curses shall be lifted off of us and put onto our enemies, okay? So it says, I saw the Lord standing upon the altar, and he said, smite the lintel of the door that the posts may shake, and cut them in the head, all of them, and I will slay the last of them with the sword. He that fleeth of them shall not flee away, and he that escape of them shall not be delivered. Though they dig into hell, then shall my hand take them. Though they climb up to heaven, thence will I bring them down. And this could be applied to Esau, Edom in today's time, man, because he has space stations up in heaven. He has bunkers underneath in hell, all right, which is just the earth, and he can't hide. All right, the Lord's gonna find him out, man. In verse 3, and though they hide themselves in the top of Carmel, I will search and take them out thence. And though they be hid from my sight in the bottom of the sea, thence will I command the serpent, and he shall bite them. See? So this could be applied to today, because we know Leviathan is at the bottom of the ocean, and we know the Lord is going to use him amongst the chariots to help take down this man's kingdom. All right? Because why? You're going to have their naval, military, and then you're going to have certain individuals that's going to be what? Ducked away off in bunkers down there underneath in the ocean. All right? But Jeremiah 16:16 says, I will send forth hunters to hunt you. All right? After I have sent forth my fishers. Well, we fishing now, and soon we're going to be turned into hunters. All right? Our Father will. Okay? Along with the angels and Leviathan. All right? It says, this will I command the serpent, and he shall bite them. And though they go into captivity before their enemies, thence will I command the sword, and it shall slay them. And I will set my eyes upon them for evil and not for good. See? So initially this was speaking on Israel, how we would go into slavery, you know, for evil, for all our wrongdoings and not for good. But like I said, this could be translated into the heathen, particularly Esau, Edom, in today's time. And the Lord of hosts is he that toucheth the land, and it shall melt, and all that dwell therein shall mourn, and it shall rise up wholly like a flood, and shall be drowned as by the flood of Egypt. It is he that buildeth his stories in the heaven, and hath founded his troop in the earth. He that calleth for the waters of the sea, and poureth them out upon the face of the earth. Yahweh is his name. So you can't hide from the Most High, the living power, man. If we couldn't, and we had to be brought forth to judgment, how much more these damn heathens, man? Especially Esau, Edom. He won't hide. He can't hide. Okay? Though he build his nest in the stars, yet will I bring him down. All right? He cannot hide. All right? The Lord has this man covered on all platforms, in the sea, on earth, and in heaven, the sky. Esau, Edom, along with the other nations that's following after him, cannot hide from their judgment. Verse 7. Are you not as the children of Are you not as children of the Ethiopians unto me? Right, because initially we were looked at as what? Gentiles, heathens. Now this is speaking particularly of the northern kingdom, because they were going off in idolatry back then. All right. And the Lord stopped dealing with them. All right. Which is why they had to be what? Grafted back in. Okay. It says, are ye not as children of the Ethiopians unto me, who are heathens, or children of Israel? See? So Israel, the northern kingdom, you know, they were going off into idolatry, heavy idol worshiping. All right. Saith Yahweh, have not I brought up Israel out of the land of Egypt, and the Philistines from Caphtor, and the Syrians from Kir? Right. So he brought them out from all different parts. Okay. Behold, the eyes of the Lord are upon the sinful kingdom. Right. And he was watching all our wicked ways back then, like I said, but particularly, you know, this is speaking on, you know, the northern kingdom, but it could be applied to all of Israel, because we all went off, man, which is why we ended up in the predicament we in now, where all of the tribes are sent and was sent into captivity. Okay, but now this could be applied to who? Esau, Edom today, and all the other nations, but particularly Esau, Edom, because this is the sinful kingdom, you know, which is America, Babylon the Great. And it says, behold, the eyes of the Lord are upon the sinful kingdom, and I will destroy it from off the face of the earth, saving that I will not utterly destroy the house of Jacob, saith Yahweh. Right. Because back then he was, you know, preserving that remnant, the elect. All right. But today he's going to do what? He's going to destroy America, and he's going to deliver the elect out of America, the sinful kingdom, via by the way of what? The chariots, are the so-called UFOs. Verse 9, for lo, I will command and I will sift the house of Israel among all nations. See? So Israel can be either the northern kingdom, or it could represent all of Israel, the northern and southern kingdom. All right. So it says, for lo, I will command and I will sift the house of Israel among all nations, like as corn is sifted in a sieve. Yet shall not the least grain fall upon the earth. See? So although we were scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, as pursuant to Deuteronomy 28 and 68, if I'm not mistaken, or it might be 64, where I will scatter you throughout the four corners of the earth, roughly paraphrasing, not the least shall what? Not the least, yet shall not the least grain fall upon the earth. All right? The elect will be delivered. Okay, when the missiles come, when the ICBMs come, the elect will be delivered. All right, they will not be left here to be destroyed here in this sinful kingdom, predominantly America, because this is where majority of the deliverance is going to come, but elsewhere as well. Okay, it says, verse 10, all the sinners of my people shall die by the sword, which say, the evil should not overtake nor prevent us. Right. Going into who? The 2/3 of our people. All right. They're going to be destroyed here, especially in this sinful kingdom, America, Babylon the Great. All right. So back to the point is that these chariots, especially the sightings and these videos that's being seen and shown lately at a high clip, those of the chariots are UFOs that's going over these waters like the oceans. Like I stated, I see that could be potentially a wake-up call, rousing up and waking up Leviathan. All right, as it says in Job 41, can thou drawest out Leviathan? All right. Now this is speaking of the serpent, okay, that the Most High made to do the destroying of Esau, Edom, that crooked serpent, also known as Leviathan. This is Job 41 in verse 1. Canst thou draw out Leviathan with a hook, or his tongue with a cord, which thou lettest down? Canst thou put an hook into his nose, or bore his jaw through with a thorn? Will he make any supplications unto thee? Will he speak soft words unto thee? Will he make a covenant with thee? Wilt thou take him for a servant forever? Wilt thou play with him as with a bird, or wilt thou bind him for thy maidens? Okay. So this is the Lord showing his power. All right. This creature, this serpent, this Leviathan is going to be used. Okay. Don't think the Lord didn't create this. Some call them dinosaurs, but don't think the Lord didn't create this creature for nothing. No, he's going to be used in this end time, in the end times. All right. It's really going down, and we're going to see some of the characteristics as we're already reading, but into more about the special abilities that this creature has. All right. Similar to Godzilla. All right. Which is where these other, which is, I believe is Ammon, the Japan, which is where they got Godzilla from. Okay. So it says, verse 4, will he make a covenant with thee? Wilt thou take him for a servant forever? Wilt thou play with him as with a bird? Or wilt thou bind him for thy maidens? Shall the companions make a banquet of him? Shall they part him among the merchants? Canst thou fill his skin with barbed irons, or his head with fish spears? Lay thy hand upon him. Remember the battle. Do no more. So these, Esau Edom military don't stand a chance. Okay, his naval, because I believe the naval is referring to the is the naval the sea? I believe the naval is the sea. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, naval is the sea, Air Force is the air, and the military, like the army, is the ground. So Esau Edom's naval military isn't going to stand a chance up against Leviathan. It says, behold, the hope of him is in vain, right? You're not going to be able to hook Leviathan. You're not going to be able to penetrate Leviathan, all right? You're not going to be able to touch Leviathan, all right? But he's going to be able to devour you and all of your naval ships. It says, behold, the hope of him is in vain. Shall not one be cast down even at the sight of him? None is so fierce that dare stir him up. Right. You don't understand. All right. When this serpent rises from up out of the ocean, it's a wrap, man. When he's woken up, which I believe those chariots are waking him up right now, rousing them to get ready for this third world war. All right. Esau, Edom, along with these other nations, naval military is going to be devoured, man. It says, behold, the hope of him is in vain. Shall not one cast down even at the sight of him? None is so fierce that dare stir him up. Who then is able to stand before me? See? And the Lord is going to be the one that actually wakes up Leviathan, all right? And like I said, I believe he's sending those chariots right now to get them, riled up, to get them prepared, all right? I could be wrong, but this is just, what I see, speaking as a man, but I could be wrong. But those chariots, because they saying that they going underneath the ocean, you know, and they got so-called space stations, all right, they can be the Lord getting ready to wake up Leviathan, all right, because we at the end of this man's kingdom, Esau, Edom. 2nd Ezra 6 and 9, Esau is the end of the world, era or age, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Well, guess what? The Most High is finna, you know, put on a show, okay? It says, verse 11, who have prevented me that I should repay him? Whatsoever is under the whole heaven is mine. See, the Lord controls all of this, all right? I will not conceal his parts, nor his power, nor his comely proportion. So we finna see Leviathan, all right? The Lord is finna allow the whole earth to see his creation, okay? Leviathan is part of his creation. And he's gonna let Leviathan, he's gonna show and test out Leviathan. All right, he's gonna put Leviathan on show for a test for all these other military nations. All right. It says, I will not conceal his parts nor his power. See? So Leviathan wasn't created for nothing. The Lord's going to use him. Nor his comely proportion. Who can discover the face of his garment? Or who can come to him with his double bridle? Who can open the doors of his face? His teeth are terrible round about. See? The Lord has put him in this particular dormant state until that time is specifically given for him to wake up. His teeth are closed. His face, it says, who can open the doors of his face? His face, he's asleep right now. His teeth are terrible round about. His scales are his pride. You ain't going to be able to penetrate this serpent, this sea creature. Shut up together as with a closed seal. Man, this is, hey, when Leviathan rises up out of this ocean, man, Esau, you through. And you got the nerve to say that you ain't afraid, man. The Lord, hey, man, this third world war, or the third war, is going to be far out, all right, beyond our imagination, man, okay? The Lord, hey, this thing is going to be beautiful, man, all right? That's why it's a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living power, Yahweh, through his only begotten son, Yahweh Shai. So it says, his scales are his pride, shut up together as with a closed seal. One is so near to another that no air can come between them. This is an impenetrable defense that he has, is his scales. So just think, Esau, Edom, when they start, sending torpedoes and shooting missiles at them and trying to hit them with rays and things of that magnitude, direct energy weapons, all that's going to be what? To no prevail, because the Lord has thought about all of this, man. The Lord gave this devil, this damn Edomite, the technology so that he could put on display so that the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, can get all the glory, man. It says, they are joined one to another. They stick together. That they cannot be sundered. You ain't going to be able to cut this creature open. Though you hit them with nukes, though you hit them with atom bombs, whatever you think you got. We seen the movies. We seen Godzilla. All right. We seen how they tried to take this thing down, but to no prevail. All right. It says they are joined one to another. They stick together, that they cannot be sundered. By his nesting a light doeth shine, or by his nestings a light doth shine, and his eyes are like the eyelids of the morning. Right. So this serpent Leviathan is going to be able to shoot out lasers. Let's get this verse in another translation. It says, NLT, when it sneezes, Leviathan, it flashes light. So when it roars or open up its mouth, and shoots, it's going to shoot laser beams. It says its eyes are like the red of dawn. This creature is going to be one likened unto none before. All right. It's going to have lasers shooting out his mouth and his eyes, man. All right. Esau, Edom's naval, military, and the other nations as well don't stand a chance, man. Leviathan is going to get to play. The ocean is his playground. So he's going to really get to put on a show just how magnificent the Lord is. Okay? It says, out of his mouth are burning lamps, and sparks of fire leap out. This damn devil don't know what he got in store for him, man. Once Leviathan is woken up completely, it's popping. It's on and popping, man. The Lord gonna make quick work of this damn devil, man. Babylon is gonna fall within an hour, all right, from the missiles and the chariots, and then from the sea, the ocean, all right, and up in the heavens with Michael and the archangels alongside or leading the charge with Yahushua. This devil can't run, man. His space force, his military, his naval military. The Lord gonna take all of it out. 1 hour. It says, verse 19, out of his mouth go burning lamps, and sparks of fire leap out. Out of his nostrils goeth smoke, as out of a seething pot of cauldron. So you know he gonna be on fire, man. I'm just visualizing it through the videos, the little clips I seen, and I can't even probably put it into complete thought of just how magnificent this creature is going to be and put on display for Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. It says, his breath kindleth coals, and a flame goeth out of his mouth. So, hey man, these other naval militaries, they ain't gonna stand a chance alongside with Esau, Edom, man. And his neck remaineth strength, and sorrow is turned into joy before him. So he's gonna take real pride in seeing the bewailing and sorrow of all these other naval, militaries, man. Which is why we telling our people, man, you better come out of this damn military, man. All right, because this ain't our fight. All right, but you see, 2/3 of our people, Jake, they want to join the military. Some of them want to be in the Navy. Some of them want to be in the Air Force, and hey, they gonna be drawn into that third woe and get destroyed. They'll come back in the kingdom in their right mind, though. It says, verse 23, the flakes of his flesh are joined together. They are firm in themselves. They cannot be moved. So the Lord is painting a picture to Job just how great his creation is, Leviathan, and that there's nothing that can move this creature. His heart is as firm as a stone, yea, as hard as a piece of the nether millstone. So this thing, it will not be able to be destroyed, man. Whatever Esau Edom thinks he got, and it's a funny sight to behold, to think that this damn devil can take down one of the Most High's creations, man. It says, when he raises up himself, the mighty are afraid. See, this damn devil, Esau Edom, along with these other nations, they're going to be afraid when Leviathan actually gets woken up. By reason of breakings, they purify themselves. The sword of him that layeth at him cannot hold. The spear, the dart, nor the habergeon. So none of this devil's devices are going to affect Leviathan. His sword, his missiles, his torpedoes, his submarines, none of this is going to affect Leviathan. All right? Let's see if this yields anything in a different translation. No sword can stop it, no spear, dart, or javelin. So all of the Navy's weapons, they ain't going to be able to stop it. All right? See if the BBE says something. The sword may come near, but it's not able to go through him. The spear or the arrow or the sharp pointed iron. So Esau, Edom, along with the other nations, none of their weapons are going to affect Leviathan. All right? None of them. Okay? It says, verse 27, he esteemed iron as straw. So this is just how strong Leviathan is. He esteemed iron as straw. You know how easy you can bend and break straw? That's how Leviathan is going to bend and break iron. And brass as rotten wood. So as brass, you can crumble up rotten wood. That's how he's going to crumble up brass. The missiles, the ships, everything in that water, in that ocean. Okay? This Leviathan is going to make light work of. It says, the arrow cannot make him flee. Hey, man, it's going to be, hey, in them Godzilla movies, at least one of them, if I'm not mistaken, those missiles only made him stronger, man. So this very well could be the same thing. The more they shoot at him, the more they, use their heat-seeker missiles, their torpedoes, the more it's just going to get him enraged and get him stronger. All right? It says the arrow cannot make him flee. Sling stones are turned with him into stubble. Now you got to remember, they're describing it to the best of their ability back then. Okay? But today we know the technology as, missiles, silos where they housing missiles on these naval ships. You see? And hey, maybe even from above, okay? Because Esau, once he see his naval military getting destroyed, he may start sending some of his aircraft in to take this Leviathan out. All right? But to no prevail. It says, darts are counted as stubble. He laughed at the shaking of a spear. See? Leviathan's going to be laughing, man. Just think. Just reading this, is putting you in the spirit to show that the Lord is far out, man. All right? He's showing us his creation, Leviathan, and how he's going to take out Esau, Edom, also known as Leviathan, that crooked serpent. All right? Babylon, America. Okay? It says, sharp stones are under him. He spreadeth sharp pointed things upon the mirror or mire. He maketh the deep to boil like a pot. Man, it's going to be a sad day for Esau, Edom, naval, military, along with the other nations, and unfortunately 2/3 of our people that are joined hand in hand with this devil and fighting this military, man. All right? Leviathan is going to make the ocean on fire. He going to set the ocean on fire, man. It says, he maketh the deep to boil like a pot. He maketh the sea like a pot of ointment. He maketh a path to shine after him. One would think the deep to be hoary. Let's see what that yields. Kind of want to see another translation. The waters glistening in its wake, making the sea look white. So once Leviathan is up, the sea, the ocean, the waves are going to be white with all that commotion, man. All right, Leviathan is finna get busy. He's been asleep all this time, man. All right, but like I said, I'm under the belief, or I'm thinking that those chariots that's going in and out of the water is there to get ready to, tell Leviathan to get prepared, man. Okay? The Lord is getting ready to unleash Leviathan. So it says, where we at? 33. Upon the earth is not his like, who is made without fear. So it says, nothing on earth is its equal. Esau, Edom doesn't have a chance in hell. Nothing on earth is its equal. You don't have the technology, boy. You don't have the weapons. You don't have the personnel. You don't have anything to stand up against Leviathan. But the Lord gonna put the spirit on you to think so. so that you can get taken down for the magnification of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. All right, to magnify the names. It says, upon the earth is not his like, who is made without fear. 34, he beholdeth all things. He is a king over all the children of pride. We know that this is speaking about Esau Edom, the pride, man. All right. So we know Esau Edom is known as that prideful man. Okay. And guess what? Unfortunately, 2/3 of our people that join hand in hand with this devil, guess what? They got to get taken down too, man. Okay? They got to get taken down too. Now let's go to one more precept and then we'll get ready to close out. This is Psalms 104. And 26, so is that great and wide sea wherein we're going to start at 25. Psalms 104 and 25. Psalms 104 and verse 25. So is this great and wide sea wherein are things creeping innumerable, both small and great beasts. There go the ships. There is that leviathan whom thou hast made to play therein. So this sea is going to be Leviathan playground. These ships are going to be his toys, all right? Esau, Edom's naval ships, along with the other nations, are going to be Leviathan toys, and along with other creatures, all right? Because you're going to have sharks, you're going to have all type of creatures underneath the oceans that's going to be eating the corpse of these individuals that's dying in the Third World War, all right? You're going to have corpse floating around in the sea. It's going to be a feast for those sea creatures, both small and great, man. All right? We know Leviathan is just looking to play, okay? He doesn't really need to eat. You know, he's asleep right now, or he might be hungry, all right? Who knows, all right? But we just saying it's a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living power, and Esau, Edom are going to find out firsthand along with these other nations, man. All right, so yeah, these chariots, you know, these sightings of these chariots, especially they're increasing now in these last days, these latter days, the end of this man's kingdom, you know, on above the sinful kingdom and in the ocean. All right, showing you that this man's kingdom is all but up, all but over. All right, just a few more prophecies, and everything is going to reveal itself. Okay. And Leviathan is going to be a big surprise, man, especially to 2/3 of our people that don't have any understanding what they joining into or what they signing up for when they join into Esau Edom's military. You think he's going to tell them that? No. All right. But see, we told our people, man, to come out of this place. This is not your rest. It will destroy you, even with a sword of destruction. Well, guess what? If you on the ocean, when Leviathan wakes up, you think he going to look to you and say, you an Israelite, I'm not going, no, you're going to be looked as just as the heathen, just like in Amos 9, when Israel didn't listen and they got punished and went into slavery. You know, when the conquistadors came over, hey, Leviathans are going to be sent to devour those of our people that have joined hand in hand with Esau, Edom, and his military, whether it's on earth or in the sea or in the heavens, all right, the Air Force, okay? Leviathan ain't gonna pick and choose. Here it is, you may have a Jake that's, you know, in a fighter jet shooting Leviathan with missiles. You think Leviathan ain't gonna eat that jet up, even if it does have an Israelite in it? Of course he is, man. You see? So we done warned you, we done told you, man. Okay, hey, things are getting serious, all right? Prophecies are at the doorstep, okay? So get right with the Lord while you still got a chance. Seek Yahweh while he may be found. Repent. Turn back from your wicked ways. Turn into the Lord, okay? So you don't have to continue to dwell in wickedness, right? And then the Lord will look out for you, because we going to need it. So let's go ahead and close out with 1 Peter 5 and 8. This is 1 Peter chapter 5 and verse 8. It reads, be sober, be vigilant. Why? Because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour. See? He wants you out there fighting against your power, man. He wants you out there sinning. All right? So that what? Misery loves company. So he can take down as many of our people as he can, but he will not take down the elect. Okay? He will not take down the elect. Even if the elect is in the military, they may wake up at the last second and say, I ain't going to fight this war. I'll just take the repercussion or the sentencing, and I'll just take my time in jail, man. So the elect going to wake up no matter what. But the 2/3 of our people, the simple ones, they're going to pass on. They're going to be, fish food. They're going to be toys for Leviathan to play with, along with these other heathen nations, all right? But see, you can't say you haven't been warned, all right? Because we're warning you right now to do what? Be sober and be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour, all right? So with that being said, pray some more was edified through this lesson, and until the next time, if it be the Lord's will, stay strong, stay in the faith. We're almost home. Shalom. Peace.